I need to invite some more people in here. I'm trying to work and trying to see how to do that right now. I want to talk about tonight empires. That's what I want to talk about. Great empires and the rise and fall of empires. I'm not going to be on here that long. I got to work tomorrow. It's 11:12. But for the most part, I'm saying? That's what I want to deal with, the major empires in history. And I want to go to some things that's in the biblical text that points out different areas um, and why I deal with the Bible from a biblical stance. And also, when we deal with the empires from the present, also to the future, and also dealing with the past, because we can basically see where this is all going if we look at it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to deal with. I'm trying to invite some people here. I'm trying to see basically how to copy this link and send it to some people. So bear with me here. Let me see something. Give me a minute. I'm working with this thing. Let me see what I got going here. Move this down so. On Facebook. It's my first time working this. Well, my second time, and I got to get used to some things here.
Hello?
What's up? What's up?
Somebody was doing a hangout?
Yeah, who's this? Oh, what's up? What's up, brother? What you got going?
What's going on? Somehow I don't know how I lost you. Hold on for just a second. Oh, what's going on? No, I'm just at work. I just got a call.
Yeah, I'm just basically gonna do a little quick hangout. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Oh,
dealing with
okay.
dealing, dealing
Hey,
with
I ain't got to
empires
do
and stuff
anything.
like
Shit, I'm
that.
at work right now.
All right, brother. So, maybe you can check it out later.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Yeah, yeah, I
I,
can't do it. Huh?
I said maybe you probably could check it out later when you get off of work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that, LeBron. You been
All
doing
right.
all right though?
Yeah, man, I've been doing pretty good. I'm just trying to learn how to work this Google Hangout stuff, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can start getting it in on here.
Oh, it ain't that hard.
Yeah. So I just bought me a desktop. You know what I'm saying? So with the desktop, comes getting to learning the process on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So
but it's good though. Just go through it, man. And they
yeah,
got like little tutorials on YouTube that definitely help out.
yeah. That's what I'm finna get off into. Try to learn that and upload videos and basically do the blog talk thing. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But this Hangout thing, that's where it's popping at.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So,
most definitely. Well, shoot, I'll be checking in, man. If you're gonna be up on there, I'll be checking in. But like I said, I'm at work right now.
okay. All right. Peace, brother.
Yes, sir. Hey, man.
Let me add some more people to the group, y'all. Let me see. Truth seekers. All right. Let me go and get busy here real quick. It ain't gonna take me that long to do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, what I want to do is I want to hit up um, Revelations chapter. Revelation chapter 17. I want to deal with some empires. Just in the biblical text, starting, you got Egypt, I'm saying? You got Assyria, you got Babylon, you got the Medes and Persians Empire, then you also got the Grecian Empire, and then you also got the Roman Empire. And basically, what this is dealing with, these are major empires, and these empires are dominant world empires that has influenced the whole earth or the whole social system, as to say. So, or cosmos. So, when we're dealing with these empires, these are major empires that are surrounded by, that Israel is surrounded by. And the biblical text deals with these major empires, starting from Egypt and so on. So one of the reasons why I deal with the biblical text is because it deals with the past, dealing with historical events, and it also deals with the present, and then we see also some future events that's been prophetic in the Bible of things to come. Now, this is my issue that I have with those that say that they're Kemetic or say that they talk about the Maronite text and the funerary text and different things, the historical events that took place in Egypt or in as a whole in Kemet or the Nile Valley civilizations. You have to show me books that deal with these things, to deal with vital information of the past. It deals with vital information that's up to date to now, and also the prophetic, the things that where we can see where this is going. You have to show me that. And not only do you have to show me that, you have to show the people that. And this is the reason why most people deal with the biblical text, is because it shows people that. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that can point out another book. See, number one is you have to know why we are in slavery or being oppressed. You have to know why Egypt was put down. You have to know why Assyria was put down, why Babylon was put down, why the Medes and Persians was put down, why the Grecian Empire was put down, why the Roman Empire was divided, and why it will be revised as a Roman Empire. As the Roman Empire in the latter times upon the 10 kings. You have to show those things. And as we can see, that there is no books that deals with those things. So that's where I'm at with it now. You know what I'm saying? We can look back and deal with the ancient history, and that's cool. But how does that relate to today? Number one is we can look back and deal with the things of the community, and that's great. But overall, we have to deal with things in key roles and key places, and deal with things internationally just as well. We have to have some international roles as well as being a people, or international ties, so to speak. And if we don't know about these empires and why they fell and the long run of these empires, then we're going to find ourselves repeating the same things that the ancients was doing, which caused them to fall. So that's the problem. Now, we're dealing with two powers here. They're stronger than us, so to speak. We're dealing with the Europeans, and we're also dealing with the Islamic states, which deals with Arabs and, so to speak, and Middle Easterns, and on the continent of Asia. also the northern portions, northwest portions of Europe. So we're dealing with a lot of Islamic states, and we're dealing with a clash of people. So it's cool uh, to look at civil things and deal with civil things as well. But on another aspect, we also need to be looking at things that are internationally going on because it affects us as well. In other words, Islam is on a rise to basically convert the whole world. It's either Islam or it's nothing else. And eventually, just as I believe it was 1299 AD, in that era, they put off the yoke of the Europeans and took on the Ottoman Empire and became very powerful and radical. So it took a forming of United Nations and NATO and different states of allies to form, basically to stop this Islamic invasion. So we have to deal with these things because we can be dealing with civil things and look up, and the civil things won't matter because the international problem is going on. And before you know it, we won't even have a place to even deal with civil things. So we have to play key role in that, and have ties to that and understand the times and the signs of dispensations or stewardships or probation periods that we're in that's going on. Number one, we have to realize this: there is a order that's being set forth, which is called a New World Order, which is built up off of secular activity, and there is no godliness or no moral behind it. Basically, it's to separate God from political and economic, and also the social system or the cosmos or the world system, to where there is a world without God, and men gain knowledge through science. I mean, men gain immortality through science and through their intellect. Basically, this is the New World Order, so to speak, thing that's going on now. Is there is no God. We are gods, and we created ourselves basically, and we can gain immortality through our intellect. So this is the problem. So when we deal with every one of these empires, from Egypt all the way to the revised Rome, and to which is the seventh kingdom or empire that is to come, and then also the eighth empire, which is the Islamic states. I'm here to tell you that the biblical texts tell us that the Islamic states will indeed conquer and overrule the European Union. Understand that. They will put off the yoke of Europe, and they will play a great role in a tricontinental war. What do I mean by that? A war on the continent that deals with the continent of Egypt, of Africa. I'm sorry, the continent of Africa and the land of Egypt. Also the continent of Europe and Asia. And in these three continents are Islamic states. Islam is on the verge to convert and to go to war. And understand this, you think that you're being oppressed by Europeans now. Trust me, if Islam come in and basically dominate, there is no believing nothing else but Islam with them. There is no freedom to believe anything else but Islam. So please understand that. And we need to be watching out and looking in that area and dealing with those international things. Hold on, give me a minute. Let me look at something real quick. All right, so let me get to this real quick so I can bring this out because this is very important. It says, and there came, this is Revelation chapter 17, and we're dealing with the prophetic portion of the text. And this is something that a lot of people is scared to get off into because they don't believe in the prophetic, or just some people just know and they don't want to deal with it because they don't understand it. But once you understand this, then you must realize that this is vital information. And this is information that if you're not looking at can cause you to miss a lot of instructions that's needful in these times. Let's read this real quick. This is Revelations chapter 17. I'm going to start off at verse 1. It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. In other words, there came one of the seven angels which has the seven veils to pour out on the earth, which deals with wrath or plagues to come on the earth. In these last days, there will be more plagues that will surface, more people will die, and we need to understand that. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So there is a great whore that is involved, and this great whore sitteth upon many waters. The waters deal with people. You know what I'm saying? She is basically she's influencing many people basically. So she's the head of those people basically. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So watch this, peep this. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon scarlet colored beasts full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads and 10 horns. Understand this. We talked about empires. So we're going to deal with the 7 heads and 10 horns, basically. In other words, this woman, it says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. This woman, she's sitting upon a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Understand that. And this woman is called Mystery Babylon. We're going to get to that. We're going to read that verse next, matter of fact, and then we're going to go back to the 7 horns and 10 heads, because that's very vital and it's very important. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of fornication. She has a golden cup in her hand, basically like we see Lil Jon got his little cup in his hand, and it's full of that lean and that abomination or that abominable stuff that's in that cup. It causes him to be influenced in that cup, under the influence, what they call it basically, and the spirits basically. And the woman was, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. In other words, this woman is seated on this beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and she has a cup in her hand. Now, this is symbolic. Well, I'm going to break down this interpretation to you, the symbolism, and I'm going to bring it to where you can understand this. Just picture this woman. She's seated on this scarlet colored beast. And I'm sorry, she's seated on this beast, and this beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. And she has a cup in her hand. Okay, get that. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Understand that Mystery Babylon is a religion. Understand that. It is a religion, first off. So this religion has influenced the nation. And in this religion, or in her hand, she holds a cup which the world have drunk of. And this cup is signified as doctrine, basically, because wine is signified as word or doctrine. So this woman has influenced all peoples and nations to drink out of this cup, basically, and for them to take on the abominations that's in this cup. She's called Mystery Babylon. Now understand this. The woman is seated on a beast, and the beast is a system. So we have a religious system that's seated on the beast, and the beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast is a political and economic system, and also who the woman has influenced through empires, and also through basically, well, let me leave it at that. So understand this. Let's look at this woman, religious woman. She influences 7 empires or 7 kingdoms in this world. They're drunk off of her wine, basically. So we see this. They're drunk off of her wine. So she's an influence of a system, or economic or political system, and she's called Mystery Babylon. She's a religious system, basically. So that's what we see. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. So this is very important, because as we look at her influence on these 7 empires, we must look at Mystery Babylon's influence on Egypt, Mystery Babylon's influence on Assyria, Mystery Babylon's influence on Babylon, the Medes and Persians, the Grecian Empire, the Roman Empire, and what we're going to have as calling the revised Roman Empire, basically. So these are the things that we need to look at and basically check those things out and look into those things. So let me bring out something real quick. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which have 7 heads and 10 horns. So in other words, she's seated, this religious system is seated on the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and the beast is carrying her. So the political system, the political system or the economic system carries this woman. As we see, she has influenced, Mystery Babylon has influenced these 7 heads and 10 kings, which is called the beast that carry the woman. So we have a political system, an economic system, and the head of this system is a religious woman, Mystery Babylon. They're carrying this religious system, basically. So key in on that, understand that, because we're going to get to the 7 kingdoms and also the 10 horns is on these 7 kingdoms. I mean, this deals with these 7 kingdoms. I'm sorry. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carry her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. Now watch what he says, key in. Now this is a revelation that's given to John in his time. John was during the time of when Rome was turned things up. Rome had their rule, the Roman Empire, basically. So key in, this is very key. Verse 8 is very key and vital. It says, the beast that thou sawest was. In other words, this beast that he saw was. He sees this beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. So in other words, he see this beast, and this beast was. In other words, he telling John, this beast is not in your day, but he was. And then he says, in other words, he said, John, this beast was. He was, but in your day he is not, but he is yet to come, basically. He said, the beast that thou sawest was and is not in your day, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. In other words, this beast in John's days was and is not in John's day, and he is yet to come, basically. And he tells John, he says, John, in other words, this beast deals with also a spirit entity that is behind the system, the religious system. Because understand this, these people are doing enchantments, sacrifices to entities to get revelation. Understand that, to get doctrines of devils. See, some people may call it spookism. That's what they call it. But in reality, we have seen these ancient cultures sacrifice to these gods, to appease these gods. And we have seen a lot of this stuff taking place in the ancient cultures as well, dealing with spirit beings that's outside of man, who we call spookism. But when you deal with it scientifically, when you deal with it historically, this is accurate information to what we're saying is a myth. These people was actually dealing with these things, because we have to understand that there are entities or deities or beings that's outside of us, that's not governed by the laws and physics that we're governed by, because guess why? They are from outside of us. In other words, we couldn't possibly think that we are the only people or the only beings that came about by chance, and there's no others out there. There's moons and other things on these certain other planets, and there's desolation out there. And desolation comes by war or either famine or either something catastrophic that happened. And we must understand that. And that's something that we're not willing to face. We call spookism. But in reality, we're not dealing with being alone here at all. Because for the same purpose and the same reason why that our moon and our solar system is governed and give providence to the earth, we have to understand what is the reason or purpose for other solar stars, other moons that's in this solar system, that's surrounded by those planets. What is the purpose for those things? It has to be for the same very purpose that is purposed on this earth as well. We need to understand that. So what we're not seeing with the naked eye, because we're only conscious or use only 10% of the capacity of our brain, we have to look at and realize that there is dimensions out there that we're not capable of understanding or seeing with the naked eye. But just because we don't see it with the naked eye does not mean it's there. And we know that there is energy, there is vibrations, there is communication. And these sons of Japheth in the ancients, Shem and the Hamitic nations, have gotten adapted and was evolved with these people or these deities. And that's something that we call. Well, let me get back to this, because I don't want to really get off a subject. I want to deal with this. It says, the beast that thou sawest, matter of fact, I'm sorry, let me hit up verse 9. It says, and here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. Mountains, whenever you see them, they represent empires. Now trip off what he finna tell John, because this is key and this is vital. This is very important. He says the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. In other words, the woman sitteth, like I said, she has been sitting or influencing the empires starting from Egypt on to the present. We see this. She's the influence of the beast system of what we call the system of what we call a new world order, basically. A nuevos ordos seculum, which means a new world secular order, basically. So we must realize, what is the first order? What was the first order, and why is there a necessity for a second order? So that's very important. So let's see what John is being told here. Because it's not really hard to break this down once you really understand the empires and the influence that they had to build a new order and to make an elite and to make servants of everybody else, basically. And when we look at it, that was the plan, was to build a new world order, a system to make the elite kings and queens and everybody else servants of that system. Now understand this, and to depopulate those who basically who are liberation. In other words, who feel that the earth is the people's and we shouldn't be charged for the economic things or the elements of this earth if the earth produces these things on a free basis. So understand that. So this has been the STEM New World Order agenda before the Caucasians even came in reign. Kemet dealt with it. Kemet was dealing with it because they was dealing with a mystery system, and the mystery system from the get-go was always to enslave the masses and have servants to hold their cups, to guard their lands, which was really always the people from the get-go. Didn't nobody tell Kemet to or the upper lower Egypt to go in this land or go in that land. Who told you that that was your land? Nobody. But you took that land, you took that gold, you took them trade routes, and from every empire that's been established, they have all done the same thing. Nothing different. Nothing different. So let's continue on. And there are 7 kings. He tells John, he says, there are 7 kings that deals with these 7 mountains. He says 5 are fallen. So in other words, he's telling John, look, there are 7 of these kings. 5 of them are fallen. So in John's days, he's telling John, in the past, 5 have fallen. Well, what are these 5 that fell? And John was during the time of the Roman Empire. The 5 that fell during the time before John was Egypt fell. Egypt fell as a empire. The Assyrian Empire fell. The Babylonian Empire fell. The Medes and Persian Empire fell, and the Grecian Empire fell. Now, John was in the 6th empire. He was in the 6th because he was under the Roman Empire. So understand that he said, John's 5 have fallen already. So we dealt with that from Grecian Empire on down to the Egyptian Empire. John was in the 6th empire. Let's break this down. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. That 1 is, like I just told you, was the 6th empire that John was in during that time. So he says, John, 1 is. That 1 is the 6th empire that John was in. Now watch what he says. And the other is not yet come. So he's telling John that after the Roman Empire, another of the 7th kingdom will rise up. Now understand this. The 6th empire, the Roman Empire, they kind of broke up a little bit. They never fell. They just separated. And one of the reasons why they separated was dealing with the wars within the Roman Empire themselves. Now understand this. The main majority of the wars that was in the Roman Empire was dealing with the Islamic states, with the eastern portion of the Roman Empire, because you had your western portion and you had your eastern portion. In the eastern portion that came in 70 AD, that dealt with Israel and cast the temple down, you will be surprised there were not Roman centurions. The Roman Empire had begun to be about 22% in 70 AD, mostly of Italians that were Roman centurions. The rest was centurions that was outside of Rome. What do I mean by that? The eastern portion is what was stationed in Israel at that time of being Roman centurions or part of the Roman Empire. So you have Islamic states or Arabs going against Jews. See, we got a picture here now, going against Jews. During that time, you had in Egypt. Now, this is crazy because when I say Islamic states, Islamic predates Muhammad. Understand that. Only thing Muhammad, they had been walking around that Mecca thing centuries before Muhammad established that, because it tells you that in the Hadith. In other words, Muhammad came and he did the same thing Akhenaten did. They was always worshiping the moon and the star. In Egypt, it was the moon and the sun. In Mesopotamia, the Islamic states, it was the moon and the star, but it represented the sun. It was always the sun god and the moon god. That's what they was always doing. So what Muhammad did, he did the same thing that Akhenaten did. He basically said there is one God and the rest do away with him. So he made one God, which was Allah. But remember, Allah had daughters. And not only that, they had like 360 gods down there. Excuse my language. But this is historical facts. And this is, if you want to learn about Islam, you need to go to the Hadith, and it teaches you more about the historical events of Islam, basically. So when you read the Quran is a version to where it deals with some historical events, but the Hadith deal with basically the background of Muhammad and also Islam, period. So Islam predates that. Islam deals with Mystery Babylon, basically. When you deal with Mystery Babylon, it stems back to Nimrod, or who we call Asar or Osiris, and it deals with Asheruth, she's different names, or there are different names in other cultures, basically. And that's why they call it Mystery Babylon. Now, whether or not we want to believe it, that Kemet was dealing with this, Kemet was definitely dealing with this. Their whole theology, when it deals with them going to the afterlife, deals with Nimrod or Mystery Babylon religion. Not only does it deal with Mystery Babylon religion in the funerary text, and so is it, so they have a saying that so as it is above, so as it is below. And that's what they believed in. The moment they prepared themselves for the dead to go into the afterlife, and they did this thing with dedication than anybody. They prepared themselves for death. And one of the things they did was, when they traveled into the underworld, they believed that God was born in the east and came and died in the west, went to the underworld to be re-back born in the east. The followers of Horus or Horizon and Seth. These two are two people that were contrary to each other, came and united and became Upper and Lower Egypt. So these are concepts of two diversity of peoples, but was also dealing with their theology just as well. So when you deal with, I don't know if that was a spider that just came down, but I don't know what it was. Hopefully it was lamp. But we'll know later on if I get bit. So when you deal with Kemet and you deal with the signs, You cannot separate the science from the theology. So once again, let me finish up because I don't want to really get I don't want to really get too far off because I'm the theology of Kemet, man, is something, man. It's some good stuff when you understand it, and then when you also understand when you're dealing with Mesopotamians, when you're dealing with the Medes and Persians, all these cultures have similar aspects of each other. It's as if they were searching for something to gather amongst each other and piece it together to build this new world order. See, that's what y'all better understand. And we see this stuff in our movies on a daily basis, and we look at it and we just cast it off and not realize that they showing us this stuff. They were searching for something, some information to put with theirs to build. Understand this. The out of Africa concept is garbage. The mind is a beautiful thing, and you can't subject it to just being an African thing. That's why it's a lot of theories that's going on out here. This is foolishness and not fact. The mind works in the majority of humans as it works in the African people just as well. I'm telling y'all better get a hold of that because that's very important. The out of Africa theory is garbage. If you're Afrocentralism, you're going to continue to fall because that's the reason why we're seeing the Caucasians and these elite with this information that they have taken and gathered and put with their information, and look how they ruling the world with it. Y'all better get that because this stuff deals with this stuff in the text and in the scriptures, and we're not willing to face that. We want to get away from this, but at the end of the day, this text is telling you about these things. So let's continue on. I know I done got off a subject. And there are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet to come. So we dealt with the 5. John was dealing with the Roman Empire, the 6, and the other is not yet come. In other words, he's telling John the 7th kingdom is not yet come yet. Now watch what he says. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Now understand, we dealt with 7 kingdoms. So we just dealt with 6 of those 7 heads on that beast. The 7th is we're going to deal with the 7th right now. The 7th kingdom is going to be revised Rome. Revised Rome. What do I mean by that? The falling of Rome due to the eastern and western portions breaking up. The eastern and western portions would form back again and form what you call the European Union up under 10 kings. This union right now is more than 10 kings, but it's key areas that must be obtained to form this European Union within the old area of the European Union. For instance, there must be a tri-continental war. What do I mean by that? A continental war between the continent of Africa, dealing with Upper Africa, Northern Africa, and also Asia, dealing with the Middle East, and also Europe, to form the revised European Union or Roman Empire again. Understand that. That's what they're shooting for. So he says this kingdom has not yet come, the revised Rome. This revised Roman Empire is up under 10 kings. It's going to be up under 10 kings. So now we dealt with the 7, which deals with revised Rome up under 10 kings. So now you have your 10. So we dealt with the 7 heads and 10 horns, because the 7 heads represent the empires with the mountains, and the 10 horns represent kings that comes out of the 7th head, the 7th kingdom upon this earth. basically. Now watch what John says. The other is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space. The European Union under 10 kings continues a short space. Do you know why they continue a short space? One of the reasons why they continue a short space of time is because guess who pops up? The Islamic states will dominate the European Union. And they're going to become the 8th kingdom, as we're going to read in this text. So there's 7 kingdoms. 10 kings arise up out of the 7th head. It continues for a short space of time. And after the 7th kingdom is conquered, guess who comes into play? The Islamic states. We have seen the Islamic states put off the role, the oppression of the Europeans in 1299 AD up under the Ottoman Empire. We have seen it. And eventually, they're going to do this with the help of Russia, with the help of China, and with the help of other states, Islamic states. They're going to get, with the help of Iran, yes. They're going to, if Iran get them nukes, it's on and popping. I just want to let y'all know that. So they're going to put off, and these people are willing to die. They're strapping bombs on themselves. They're strapping bombs. They're hiding themselves behind their kids and their families, shooting from hospitals, shooting from schools in Egypt, the Hamas, over into Israel. These are Islamic states. Iran is supporting the Hamas, Egypt. Yes, I just told you there's going to be a tricontinental war. Why? Because the European Union has to subject the Islamic states. Yes, they have to subject them. And eventually they're going to subject them, but guess what's going to happen? The 8th kingdom is going to fall. I mean, the 8th kingdom is going to rise up out of the territory of the Middle East, and is going to come forth with a massive empire that's going to overtake the Roman or the European Union. Understand that. And this is what the scripture's teaching and showing us this. So when you say that this Bible is written by Caucasians, what you must realize is you would have a better say to say that it's written by Arabs or either Islamic states, because this book is telling you that they're going to overthrow the European Union. And no one is not going to write a book of them getting overthrown in this. They're going to make it seem like that they're on top, that they're not going to get overthrown. Just for instance, when you use the argument and say King James was a, when you say King James was a, you say he was a faggot or whatever you say, and but you make that argument, not realize that if he wrote this, why would he? The Bible does not condone in faggotry. First off, so now you have a problem. Did he really write this, or is it just a version that was authorized? See, there's a difference between going to get something authorized or get it published. You just can't go and just put something out on the street and not get it authorized. So that's another subject. Got to understand that concept though. So this is what we're dealing with. So let's do something real quick. Let's do something real quick. It says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. In other words, this beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. So in other words, this beast is going to a beast is going to come forth, and he's going to be the eighth kingdom. Now most people will look at this and he's going to overtake the European Union, basically. That's just what this is saying. And when we look at it, I associate this with the Islamic states. Yes. And the biblical text tell you this because the 10 kings deal with revised Rome. And he comes and he subdues the revised Rome. And he subdues 3 of their kings, and the rest give their power unto him. And he controls them because he's a great dictator. And by war, he's going to cause the rest to give their power unto him by reason of conquering over them. This has been the purpose of every empire that has came in to rule the world, basically, and to depopularize those, because they know that the earth is degenerating, and eventually, if the earth degenerating, then guess what? They're going to run out of resources, basically. So when you degenerate the earth, their thing is to find a place outside off this rock, basically, and basically travel the cosmos and have servants up under them. So with that being said, let me read this real quick, and I'm finna get on up out of here. It's 12:09. I need to go to bed. Got to go work tomorrow. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked. In other words, the 10 horns shall hate the religious system and put off the religious system, and shall make her naked. And this religious system deals with also a city, a literal place that will be judged just as well. So that's another story. We're not going to deal with that. We'll deal with that the next time. So it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these, hold on. It says, let me see something. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are the 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. That lets you know that the 10 horns, they haven't received no kingdom as yet because they have not come yet. There has not been a European or revised Rome that has been set up yet. Remember, he told John that kingdom has not yet come. That European Union, the areas that they need to get have not been formed yet. And I told you there has to be a tri-continental war. And during this tri-continental war between Africa, continent of Africa, Europe, and Asia, sets up the 10 kings in the latter times. So they're looking to set up these 10 kings, and there are crucial parts of the areas of this Roman Empire, or revised Roman Empire, that needs to be taken. And that's in Asia, that's in the continent of Europe, and the continent of Africa. And then that's what sets up the 10 kings. So hopefully, you know, if anybody got any questions, you can reach me at my Facebook page, LaRon G Consciousness Campbell, or you can reach me at my email, which is laron498@gmail.com. And or you can reach me on my page, which is Bust the Bible Like a Rifle, on my Facebook page, my group, basically. And also, during the week or whatever, I'm going to try to get a set date to where I'm going to have my G Consciousness Radio. I got a Blog Talk Radio that I deal with. And also I'm going to set up and keep doing some more hangouts. So for those that, you know, want to deal with that, with these empires, I'm going to probably speak on this a little bit about it tomorrow, you know, with some historical facts. And I want to basically deal with some things dealing with the Assyrian Empire, because, man, that oppression right there was rough. Them Assyrian kings was, man, they was getting busy, basically. So with that being said, peace to everybody, and be listening in and looking out for me, and check out my group and my Blog Talk. Peace.